The year was 1840, and the Texas frontier was a volatile and unforgiving place, where the ambitions of settlers collided with the deep-rooted presence of native tribes. The rolling plains, rugged mesas, and winding rivers bore silent witness to a relentless struggle between settlers, soldiers, and the Comanche, whose unparalleled horsemanship and strategic warfare had solidified their dominance over the southern plains for decades. For settlers attempting to build a life in this perilous environment, survival required not just hard work, but constant vigilance, extraordinary courage, and a profound understanding of the land's harsh realities. Amid this backdrop, the Texas Rangers emerged as a crucial force, tasked with protecting settlements and asserting Texan claims to the contested land. Among these Rangers was William Alexander Anderson Wallace, better known as Bigfoot Wallace. At just 23 years old, Wallace sought to prove his mettle, driven by personal loss and the determination to defend his homeland. Though his early encounters with the Comanche tested his resolve, Wallace's perseverance soon established him as a formidable figure in Texas history. The Zumwalt settlement, like many others in South Texas, embodied both the promise and peril of frontier life. Isolated and exposed, it relied heavily on the resilience and unity of its settlers. The settlement was a modest cluster of wooden cabins and hand-built fences, surrounded by small, struggling fields of crops that fought to thrive in the unforgiving climate. For its inhabitants, choosing to live in such a precarious location was both a bold testament to their determination and a gamble with the ever-present dangers of frontier life, where opportunities were often shadowed by constant threats. The fertile soil of the Texas frontier promised bountiful harvests, yet its location on the edge of Comanche territory meant that every plowed field and raised cabin was an act of defiance. Settlers lived under the constant shadow of raids, their daily lives a fragile balance of hope and fear. When a group of young Texas Rangers arrived at a settlement carrying only their saddles, having lost their horses in a Comanche raid, the settlers' concern was unmistakable. Without their mounts, the Rangers were not only ineffective, but also a liability. The settlers' stoic disappointment underscored the urgency of the situation. Swift and decisive action was needed. Masters of the plains, the Comanche, to grasp the significance of the Rangers' mission, one must understand the Comanche, whose influence shaped the southern plains. The Comanche were far more than warriors. They were master tacticians, skilled diplomats, and traders who upheld a culture rooted in freedom and mobility. Their ascension to power hinged on two transformative innovations: the horse and the gun. By the late 17th century, the Comanche had not only mastered horsemanship, but had also incorporated firearms into their arsenal, obtained through trade with European settlers and neighboring tribes. These advancements allowed them to evolve from a modest band of hunter-gatherers into a dominant force on the plains. However, their supremacy was not based on martial strength alone. The Comanche thrived on adaptability and resilience. They were adept negotiators, forging alliances with some tribes while waging war against others. They controlled critical trade routes, acting as intermediaries between native groups and European settlers. Their raids, often brutal, were strategic efforts to secure horses, captives, and resources essential to their survival and prosperity. For settlers and soldiers, the Comanche were a near mythical adversary. Stories of their exploits, often exaggerated, painted them as both invincible and inhuman. This mix of awe and fear deepened the psychological burden of confronting them. The man behind the scalps, Jeff Turner. Jeff Turner was a man shaped by the violence of the frontier. His tragic past, his wife and 3 sons killed in a Comanche raid, was a story not uncommon on the Texas frontier, yet his response was extraordinary. Where many might have succumbed to despair or retreated to safer territories, Turner chose a relentless path of vengeance. His grief became a driving force, transforming him into a hardened figure emblematic of the personal toll of the frontier's unyielding conflicts. To the Rangers, Jeff Turner was a figure of both admiration and unease. His rugged appearance, antiquated weaponry, and reserved demeanor set him apart, marking him as a man estranged from the comforts of the civilized world. Yet it was his eyes, piercing and unyielding, that left the deepest impression. They seemed to look beyond the immediate, into a realm where past injustices cried out for vengeance. For Turner, revenge was not merely a personal mission, it was an existential crusade. Each scalp he claimed symbolized defiance against a world that had stripped him of everything. However, beneath his skill and resolve lay an undeniable tragedy. Turner's life had devolved into a cycle of violence, each act of retribution perpetuating the bloodshed he sought to escape. For the Rangers, Turner's presence was both a blessing and a burden. His unparalleled knowledge of the land and the Comanche was invaluable, but his relentless pursuit of vengeance often endangered the group. His actions forced the young Rangers to confront uncomfortable questions about the morality of frontier justice and the toll it exacted on those who pursued it. The chase, a test of will and skill, tracking the Comanche required extraordinary patience and expertise. Masters of their terrain, the Comanche were adept at covering their tracks, making them elusive prey. Under Turner's guidance, however, the Rangers began to close the gap. The pursuit became a grueling test of endurance and strategy. Days bled into nights as the group followed the faintest traces, a broken branch, a patch of disturbed grass, the faint imprint of a hoof. For Turner, this chase was an opportunity to showcase his unmatched expertise, while for the young Rangers, it was a humbling experience, a stark reminder of their inexperience and the unforgiving realities of frontier life. As the pursuit wore on, the stakes grew ever higher. The Comanche raiding party, though small, was no less formidable. The Rangers understood that a single misstep could turn the pursuit into a deadly ambush. The experience was a lesson in patience, discipline, and the precarious balance between courage and recklessness. The battle. Chaos and carnage when the Rangers finally caught up with the Comanche. The confrontation was swift and brutal. Under Turner's direction, a surprise attack gave the Rangers an early advantage. But the Comanche, true to their reputation as fierce warriors, retaliated with ferocity. What followed was a chaotic melee of gunfire, arrows, and hand-to-hand combat. For Wallace and his men, this battle was a harsh initiation, a baptism by fire. The romanticized visions of heroism they had carried into the frontier were obliterated in the face of the Comanche's unyielding resistance. Each ranger was forced to confront their own fears and limitations, relying on their ability to adapt amidst the chaos. Turner, meanwhile, was a force of nature. His actions during the skirmish exemplified the determination and savagery of a man consumed by vengeance. Yet even as the Rangers emerged victorious, the cost of the conflict weighed heavily on them. The battle was not just a test of their physical endurance, but a reckoning with the brutal reality of frontier warfare. Turner moved through the battlefield with a precision that seemed almost supernatural, his actions honed by years of experience and an unyielding resolve. His scalping of fallen Comanche warriors, though gruesome by modern standards, was a grim reminder of the brutal realities of frontier warfare. It was a stark symbol of the cycles of violence that defined this era, a visceral response to the loss and vengeance that consumed his life. Aftermath and reflection as the smoke cleared and the final echoes of gunfire faded into the vast silence of the plains, the Rangers took stock of their hard-fought victory. They had recovered some of their stolen horses and dealt a significant blow to the Comanche raiding party. Yet, the price of their triumph was written on their battered bodies and in their haunted expressions. For many of the young Rangers, this battle was a stark awakening, a shattering of their romanticized notions about life on the frontier. The glamour of heroism was replaced by the harsh reality of survival, where victory often came at an unimaginable cost. Turner, however, showed no sign of satisfaction. For him, the skirmish was not a moment of triumph, but merely another step in his relentless pursuit of vengeance. As the Rangers gathered around the campfire that night, attempting to lighten their spirits with shared stories and camaraderie, Turner remained apart, his thoughts a mystery to the rest. His silence spoke of a deeper burden, a life defined by loss and the pursuit of justice on a frontier where the lines between hero and villain were blurred. Legacy and lessons. The story of Bigfoot Wallace, Jeff Turner, and the Comanche is more than a tale of frontier conflict. It is a reflection of the broader struggle for survival and dominance in the American West. It tells of cultural collisions, personal vendettas, and the complex interplay of heroism and savagery that characterized the era. For Wallace, the encounter with Turner was a defining moment, one that shaped his understanding of the frontier and the diverse peoples who inhabited it. Turner, by contrast, saw the battle as just another chapter in a life defined by personal loss and unrelenting vengeance. Despite the violence that marked his existence, Turner's story carries an undeniable weight of humanity, a testament to the enduring complexities of life on the edge of civilization. Ultimately, this story reminds us that history is not merely a sequence of events, but a tapestry woven from countless individual lives. Each thread tells a story of courage, tragedy, and the unyielding spirit of those who came before us. It is a legacy of resilience and sacrifice, echoing through the generations as a testament to the human condition in its most raw and profound forms.